Hello, Internet. Welcome to IPython Jupyter Dev meeting for May 26th. Um, Thomas or Matthias, you want to get started on agenda things?
Yeah, I'm loading the agenda page, which is...
I have it already up. So the first thing I put on was, do we want to send anyone to PyData Seattle, and has anyone booked? I guess this is something that we should really do with Brian and Fernando here. Brian kind of said on Gitter that he will probably go, but it wasn't clear if he's booked yet.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going anywhere.
When is it already?
PyData Seattle, I believe, is late July.
I have to check. I may be able to go.
Okay.
So that's the same response I gave earlier.
Yeah, I'm just thinking because I imagine that if we do want to send someone, we should probably get them registered fairly soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a conversation that we should have with at least one of Brian and Fernando around.
Yep.
So, okay, moving on to 4.0, status and work items. So I wanted to actually focus our minds a little bit, because from the things that Min has described to me, I think if we put our minds to it, we can have 4.0, or we can be aiming for 4.0 in a couple of weeks. I mean,
Just for SciPy.
with the proviso that when we aim for stuff, we usually miss. But we can aim for that at least. So, like, what do we need to decide on? What do we need to do? And, like, who's going to do it? And, yeah.
So do we always
It
push
sounds like
docs
we are doing it.
for after the release? Like we say docs, like we release and we do docs after?
I think some measure of docs we need to sort out before 4.0. We're obviously not going to get them perfect, because we'll probably never get them perfect. But
Yeah, but we should have at least the docs that we currently have and new install docs are definitely a criterion for release.
yeah,
So we need the migration tool. I don't know, I think it's still in progress, right?
Yeah, I mean, nobody's looked at it, but it's basically done.
okay.
It's been waiting for review for a few weeks in terms of implementation. And then, so I've implemented the configuration stuff, but what I haven't done is, what we haven't talked about is what we should do about, like, implicit, like, what should happen automatically when you type Jupyter Notebook or something, and what should be only explicit, that kind of stuff. So right now it's only explicit migration. I've implemented migration, and a completely orthogonal conversation is what should we do about what should be automatic, what should we copy, that kind of stuff. These are all enumerated in the issue.
Okay.
Okay, I'm also just making a note under what do we need to decide.
Yeah.
There was a point on the points. There was a point with the stuff we needed to do about getting the widgets like installable and connected up. Is that now done?
No.
That's still a two-step thing. So I guess that's the big question. Are we going to do the packaging for 4.0?
Do we have any kind of coherent packaging scheme in mind, or if we don't, I would say then just kind of for 4.0 we should just fudge it so that like the notebook server like looks to see if the widgets are installed, and if so, it uses them.
Brian and I sketched something out on the whiteboard. I haven't tried implementing it yet.
Can you put the whiteboard on a shared space so that we can look at it?
I did not take a picture of it, but I can redraw it. I'll redraw it.
Yeah, thanks.
But I mean, if we're aiming for a release by SciPy, then I think we should postpone trying to deal with the packaging properly. Probably, if our plans are still at the stage of sketching things out on whiteboards, I think we should make something that works for our particular case in this release, and then we can worry about proper packaging later.
Yeah, don't break user workflow for 4.0. So get something that, even if it's still hard coded in the notebook, works.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we need to make sure the notebook works when the widgets aren't around, which it does right now, but yeah, what's going to be the process for doing this? Because the widgets are actually more complicated than most things because they involve an IPython extension as well as a notebook extension. They can't, because of the implicit initialization stuff, they can't just be a Python library. They actually have to be an IPython extension loaded at startup.
Yeah. I think what we have now, we could release as an MVP, but we definitely shouldn't release some kind of smaller thing in between this and the grand solution, the packaging.
Right.
That would be a bad.
But wouldn't an MVP be a less good experience than IPython 3.0?
Yes.
Yes, it definitely.
100%. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
So we do something like more complex for a user for 4.0.
Yes.
Right.
And I don't think we've proposed anything that is simpler than install one package and you have everything. I don't think it's possible to get simpler than that.
Yes, everything. It's everything it works.
Well, I mean, that's something we could do. We could have a meta package that we support even later, just like a Jupyter package that installs the widgets and hides all that complexity.
Yeah, and we could make sure that the Jupyter package is never a wheel.
Yeah.
Is there a way? So here's a question. So pip7 builds wheels by default, so that future installations install from wheels. Is there?
Unless it cannot build the wheel.
Yeah, so we would have to.
Yeah, because we have to do something to make sure.
Explicitly fail.
Yeah, we have to do something to make sure that building a wheel, if we go with something that needs to take actions that aren't that don't fit in a wheel, which is the widgets are always that's just gonna be the case. If we want installation to be one step, because installation fundamentally isn't one step, so to make it one step, you have to fake it in setup.py.
Fake it till you break it.
Yeah, we need to make sure that, I don't know, I still think that installation and enabling should be two steps, given the way things that they really are two complete. The way pip is moving is telling us that the operations we need to perform to enable things should fundamentally not be a part of a Python package installation process.
Yeah. But yeah, we have no other way for the time being.
No, I mean you do. You have an API that's like do stage 2 that's a part of the package. But like we already have this with the IPython kernel, right? The IPython kernel right now, when you install it, it's not registered, but there's a command to register it to make the kernel spec available.
I mean that could be just for maybe 4.0 and 5.0, where we say we still have only one command to install. and we slowly deprecate it in favor of register step. But right now, the problem is like most people still rely on just pip installing IPython and it works. I mean, technically, they will just pip install IPython, run, see there is a missing dependency, install the dependency, and try again. But I think we should really keep the experience like one command as much as possible for the first iteration of Jupyter. Otherwise, people will just think that everything is broken.
Yeah.
What do we mean by enabling widgets anyway? Why can't you just import them and use them?
JavaScript need to be put in the NB extension.
So in order to load the widgets on refreshing, so you open a notebook, you get a brand new kernel, and then the front end sends COM messages to reestablish things you need. So there needs to be stuff at IPython initialization time, and there also needs to be stuff.
I mean, could we drop back to reloading the page removes the widgets? I mean, we survived like that, but
yes, that was a problem for a long time.
Yes, but it was a problem that we lived with. You know, if we have to go back to that for some period, then worse things have happened.
But I mean, there's also loading the JavaScript, and I mean these are things you can't do.
But I'm saying that the notebook server could, for 4.0, while we're not trying to tackle the packaging problem, it could explicitly look in, you know, the widget directory and see if this is there.
Yeah, but you still need to get the JavaScript from the widget package to the right place.
You can load it from the widget package. It's loading it from the disk one way or another.
I mean, we could, there is the other thing of we could say just all JavaScript for the thing should be a Python package, and everything should be installed with pip. And use setup tools entry points to register everything.
But what I'm suggesting is that for the time being, like we set up terminals in the Notebook web server if Terminator is importable, we could set up widgets if IPyWidgets is importable. I know it's not the solution we want long term, but if that lets us get 4.0 out.
Yeah, we can investigate that.
I don't care. The easiest, as long as it's super simple for user to install Jupyter 4.0.
Yeah, that's a massive statement, Matthias. Yeah, that's asking for a lot. Okay, yeah, well, let's investigate something along those lines.
Okay.
So 3.0 or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Docs.
Docs.
So I have made a start on some docs for the traitlets and NB format repos.
Mm-hmm.
So for people who weren't here in the last meeting, we've kind of roughly said that as a first plan, we will put most of the docs in the repos with the code that they relate to, and the kind of the central docs hub will primarily be like a landing page that directs you into the various docs, and then it can have a few bits of like useful overview information, like probably some installation information and things like that. But the current thinking is that will be relatively little in that repo compared to what we've been thinking at some points, because most of it makes sense to version along with the code.
Yeah.
So MV format and tradelets I have started. We still need, I think, most of the other repositories need some docs. So kind of like everybody who has time to work on this, please claim a package and create some docs for it out of like whatever previous docs we've had, and do what you think is necessary for the package that you're most interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So still building on read the doc, no building on Travis.
I've got those two at least building on read the docs, and I think that's the simplest way to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Travis really offers anything above read the docs. Does it?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, there are something in some packages that might be annoying if you have C dependencies or things like that. Which
I build the PyZMQ docs on read the docs, and it has to compile libzmq and stuff. It's not a big deal.
Okay, sure. So the next point. Google Hangout is just killing my machine. I cannot even scroll.
Yes, that's right, folks. Google Hangouts is killing the brand new MacBook. Google Hangouts, destroyer of computers.
Yeah, it does tend to do that.
It's probably all a cunning plan by Google, doesn't it? Has anyone tried it on a Chromebook? Is this like Google's cunning plan to kill all of our computers so that we'll go and buy Chromebooks instead?
I've used it.
Great on Chromebook.
Don't worry, your battery dies just the same.
Okay, so not a cunning plan.
Common set of basic tags that is to say bugs, wait for author. What does that mean?
Oh, should we? I think someone's suggesting that we set up a set of tags that will work across all repos. Have the same set of tags. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I would call bug one of them. I've never used that, but
I think GitHub provides a bug tag on new repos by default anyway.
yeah, a couple people mark things as bugs, but since the difference between feature request and like unexpected behavior and bug is so unclear, it's either a thing we need to fix or it's not. I don't think whether it's a bug. Yeah. Yeah. What are the ones that we?
And anyway, the wait for author is useless because when the author has changed something, if it's not one of us, he cannot remove the tag.
Yeah.
So you still basically have to check.
Yeah, I don't think we experimented with having a wait for author and needs review set of tags, and I don't think that's particularly helped us.
Okay. In that case, are there any labels that are useful? other than the category ones, like this is parallel, this is Qt console, which we don't need anymore.
Yeah, and until we get really some manager that is assigned, which deals with setting tags to assign to some people, and even now you can even assign the issues to people. I don't think it's really useful.
We did find, I think at one point we were using a needs decision tag, and that was kind of briefly while we were actually remembering to use it useful, because we had a system where when there were X bugs tagged needs decision, we would have an extra meeting to try and make those decisions. I think that's about the only one that we've actually at any point found useful, but then that kind of fell by the wayside anyway. So
Yeah, I found wait for author actually useful. I know we still need to check it when it's not one of us, but most PRs are us, in which case there isn't a problem.
Yeah, and it's really nice to be able to just kind of mark this like been read, been responded to.
Yeah, you do. It's not perfect because you still have to look at ones that are by non-committers. That it's not necessarily authoritative, but you can also say, you can see this is waiting for author and a month.
Or we don't use need for author when it's PR that are not from us.
Sure, you can do that.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
We can retry.
Okay. Yeah, we can take our various labels. I have a script for batch updating things on the repos, so I can, if we make a list, I can add the labels on everything without much difficulty. Back to config migration for some reason. Yeah.
Parallel stuff.
Yeah, so I opened a couple issues. I think Thomas and Matthias might have commented on them. That I proposed making the clusters tab ship as part of IPython parallel and take it out of the notebook package and run it as a NB server extension, I guess, to add a page. We'll need to figure out what the best way to add pages is, or add a tab. It's possible it could add a tab instead of a page, but and then also take the parallel message handlers like apply requests and stuff and move those to the parallel code so that they're managed. Basically, so the code lives where they're used rather than having these vestigial things in IPython kernel.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Do you want to do that for 4.0 or 5?
Either way, it depends on. It depends a bit on what we mean. What we want to do with 4.0. I would like it. It's the more we punt on 4.0, the more we're going to have to keep doing coordinated releases of the packages. Like the more we say, let's just get it working, then once we fix it, we need to make sure that we're releasing these two packages at the same time. Like with the widget stuff, what we're talking about with the widget stuff means that we're going to need to be releasing the widgets and the notebook together, even after this 4.0 release, because fixing it is going to require changing both and bumping the dependency on both, because fixing it will mean that the old one doesn't work. And, so I think the more complete 4.0 can be, the better. But at the same time, getting it out is also good. But I don't know, we have, I think, a huge amount of docs preparation to do. I think there's still a lot of work between us and 4.0. I mean, we've enumerated a lot of work.
But I don't want to fall into the trap that we so often fall into of saying, well, there's still a lot of other stuff that needs to be done, so I'll just kind of try and get this in, and then the stuff that needs to be done never ends up getting done. And
yeah, no, that's a good point.
Do we have a good way of divvying up the doc work so it's kind of clear, like, who can run through what docs and update what and move what where?
spreadsheet or something, and put package doc responsible.
Yeah, we can do it right here. Just in the hackpad, just put lists in. And then people can grab repos. So I think I will work on getting IPython parallel split. I will do that since I've already started working on it, but I just wanted to see if people thought it made sense.
Okay, next one. In the JavaScript side, deprecate the global IPython thing. At least I have a PR that does it for classes and modules, so that you have to use require JS. The question is, what do you do with instances? Like if you want to get the current notebook, how do we move that forward?
I guess leave it how it is for now. I don't know. What do you have an alternative?
I mean, I think that main should not attach instances to the IPython global. It should
attach it to a window, or
it should return a dict, and at least this dict can be set to the IPython global. Like the thing that main returns is stuck into a global, but it shouldn't directly mutate a global.
But there's nothing outside it.
Yes, but nothing prevents someone from using main in another context and might want these instances to be attached somewhere else. And the fact that we attach each to the global is specific to IPython, and I think that you should never attach to the namespace. You should just return something, and if your parent decides to attach it to someone else, it's...
Yeah, but the parent, I mean, that's what main is that parent, right? There is nothing outside that. That is our outermost script.
There is something that called main. And main should return a namespace, and the thing that called main should
something that calls main is require main. That we just put main on the page.
But main is too big for something that just create a notebook.
Okay, so that maybe it's kind of a dumb nomenclature. But to me, main is that thing that should populate the namespace.
Sure. I mean, so then main should be smaller. And
okay. Okay, so make the bits of main that build a notebook and stuff, make those reusable.
Yeah, and the other thing is we still have some places that deals with that look at the IPython global, especially for target. They look at IPython underscore target to know whether to open the open a new tab or a new window, or do in the current window.
Right.
Which still makes things tightly coupled. And the thing that annoys me with that is it makes it really difficult to port things to TypeScript. Because loading TypeScript, loading TypeScript from JavaScript is easy, but the reverse is hard. And so if we could try to get rid of that for 4.0, it would be nice. I can live with it still being in 4.0 for now, but it's basically that.
As we work on the modularization stuff, that stuff needs to change a lot. That I'm not sure adding a new way to grab the global instances that we're just going to get rid of.
So the problem is basically when you want to call JavaScript from TypeScript, you need to write the TypeScript definition file. So basically, you rewrote your only type definition file, and once you're done with the module that uses this definition file, you get rid of the definition file to rewrite the next module in TypeScript. So basically, you do the work twice.
I'm not sure how that connects to what we're talking about.
Because the way we use the global and the dependency, you basically have to write the typing for all IPython, and then convert the modules to TypeScript.
Well, just don't type it. Why would you even type that for now?
Because otherwise the TypeScript compiler just complains.
I mean, can't you explicitly say it's any? in the definition? Just say
But not always. You can, if you make it to any, it will tell you that some module does not have, like any doesn't have subfields. So you need to say that IPython has this global which might or might not exist and might be any. I mean, we can discuss the detail of why it's annoying offline. We don't need to do that right here.
Now, so you're also talking about removing the compatibility IPython global namespace, like where we're setting IPython.notebook equals.
Yes, it's super annoying. The fact that we have a global and we assign things to the global is annoying.
I think we should still have that somewhere for the user, whether or not that's in a separate JavaScript file that requires all the stuff.
Yeah.
Sets the global variable.
Sure, there is still, I mean, there is also the question of how you do it for the user. The fact that when you require a module, it requires namespace and attach some things to it is just completely crazy for me.
Yeah.
So if we get rid of the namespace, why not do it in a correct way?
Yeah, no, I haven't heard. So I think taking off the classes makes sense. I haven't heard a proposal for how to deal with the instances.
Instances, yeah.
I'm not sure either.
Because they are globals, and you need to be able to grab them without any, like from a naked require call. You need to be able to grab instances, the global instances.
And of course, at some point though, they're not going to be globals.
Right.
They're going to be all widgety.
Yeah, and which is why I think cleaning up the classes and stuff makes perfect sense. But I think things are going to change enough when we actually do the modular stuff that we'll probably have a better understanding of how to grab the current notebook. That.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, it's just that the way it's done currently make turning things progressively into modules painful.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm surprised that turning things progressively into modules is even remotely possible. That it's going to need to be just to break everything. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I would still like to have the technical conversation with you offline, just so I understand.
Yeah.
What's going on.
Great.
Enabling numbering on NB viewer. Do we want to do that or not? I'm 50-50 because if we add numbering on NB viewer, it means that people will start requiring it on the live notebook more and more. And if we don't have it on the notebook, it's relatively painful to cite a specific equation without rendering it on NB viewer, which is a chicken and egg problem.
Yeah, I mean, I just had someone, Randy Levesque was asking me about this on Thursday or Friday, and I showed him how to turn equation numbers on in the notebook and what the problems are with that. And it's one of those things where the problems are annoying enough that I don't think it makes sense for us to have numbering on the live notebook by default because of the whole re-rendering problem. But that there are a number of users like Randy Levesque for whom having the numbers there is sufficiently useful, and that it's more important. I don't know. I don't know how to gauge the confusion or annoyance of NB viewer having a mismatch with the live notebook.
Can we make it an Easter egg, like a metadata in the notebook that turn on numbering for the time being on NBViewer only?
That's the kind of thing where it makes me wish that we had standardized metadata for that. I mean, so because NBViewer is static, it seems like the numbering would be appropriate.
Yes, numbering is 100% appropriate on NBViewer. It's
right.
That's not.
If that causes a pushback where people want it in the notebook, they can be shown how to turn it on.
Yeah.
For themselves, but then we don't require it by default, or it's not set by default. I mean, it means we have to explain that each time, but.
But yeah, and if we put it in
documents on NBViewer.
Yeah, if we put it in metadata that even NBViewer respects, that means it's also off by default in NBViewer, right? Is that what you're talking about, Matthias?
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, I mean we can definitely have this kind of thing. I don't know if this is more likely to be a per notebook or per user. I don't know.
Notebook, because we don't have notion of user on NBViewer.
No, but I mean, right now there's most such things are configured like in custom.js. Like, I want equation numbering. You don't say, I would like this notebook to have for analogous things.
Oh, well, I mean, that's from the NBViewer point of view, it has to be in the notebook which gets downloaded. So
well,
but
that's not true. I mean, what the proposal that's currently there is that we just turn it on. That NBViewer puts numbers on equations. That is not optional. It's just on.
Oh, I was thinking of a metadata in the notebook that would enable numbering, so that you don't get numbering by default, and each user on a per notebook basis can say, here I want numbering. I know what I'm doing. I know it's a beta feature. I know I won't complain. I will still complain, but anyway, I've seen the contract. I'm enabling this beta feature to try to numbering on NBViewer. We had that at some point for CSS. At the really beginning of NBViewer, I had.
Yeah, no, I know.
And you could switch themes with the notebook metadata.
Yeah. Oh, metadata field for the switch seems worth exploring. Because implementation-wise, that's really simple. Because turning on mathjax config is very, very simple. And you can just do that at notebook load time.
So does that mean we do it? Are we going to render the template differently based on the metadata then?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Well, that would be a convert thing anyway. So it will be done in NB convert, and it will propagate to NBViewer at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Put it.
You don't have to.
Yeah, you won't need handling in NBViewer, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it also allows people to just convert to HTML with numbering if they want.
Okay.
So still no Fernando?
This is the end of the agenda. Does anyone have anything else?
Don't think so.
We have now reached our final destination. All right. Thank you, everyone. We will see you again next week.
Yep.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.